Hello and welcome to our Nothing But Net's new champion orientation. If you're not familiar with our organization, Nothing But Nets is an advocacy campaign of the United Nations Foundation dedicated to ending malaria worldwide. And throughout this session, we'll give you some insight on the work that we do and how you yourself can effectively advocate and help us in this fight. But first off, I would recommend that you text malaria to 30644 to sign up for our action alerts, as this is really the best way you can hear about new opportunities to get involved and all that's happening with our campaign.
As a champion with Nothing But Nets, you have the ability to raise your voice in a number of ways. Here are just a couple of the highlights. So Winter is one of our most devoted champions, was invited to present at an international conference. Our champions also submit work to both local and national publications and also meet with members of Congress. When we're looking to elevate champions and promote them, we look at those who have engaged with us continuously across the years and look at those who are most passionate about ending malaria, and their engagements show that.
Now let's unpack what it really means to be a champion. At Nothing But Nets, we like to say that our champions' advocacy efforts lead to real change. And that's because as US voters, champions can play an important role in helping fund malaria prevention programs by meeting with their members of Congress, making calls, writing letters to the editor. All these actions help persuade members of Congress to vote yes to fund and support global malaria programs and initiatives. Now, this crucial funding money goes to a variety of organizations and programs that provide on-the-ground support in countries battling malaria. So the two main initiatives we advocate for are PMI, the President's Malaria Initiative, and the Global Fund. Now, for example, PMI's money goes directly from the US government to programs on the ground in countries around the world that are currently fighting malaria. So just recently, they were able to train and fund the training of 2,000 community health workers across Malawi. PMI and the Global Fund's efforts goes towards research and development, which of course is important in the possible development of malaria vaccines in the future, but also prevention. So PMI and the Global Fund help develop and purchase indoor residual sprays that coat the walls and other surfaces of a home with a residual insecticide. And for several months, the insecticide will kill mosquitoes and other insects that come in contact with these surfaces. We'll also distribute mosquito bug nets, which are effective in preventing the spread of malaria. And then the third piece of that puzzle is diagnosis and treatment, which of course is imperative for those who have contracted malaria. Our champions come together across 4 main moments of each calendar year to advocate for the end of malaria. Our first and largest moment is our Leadership Summit, which this year will convene in March of 2022 with an exact date to be determined. This year will be a virtual event, but in the past we have convened in Washington, DC in person. This is when our corporate partners, our grassroots champions, even some celebrities and members of Congress and their staffers come together to discuss the importance of ending malaria and the role that the US government can play in helping achieve that goal. Then World Malaria Day is April 25th, and World Mosquito Day is August 20th. These are great moments to meet with your members of Congress in your district or virtually, and also write letters to the editor in your local publications to get out the word. Veterans Day is November 11th, and this is just a great moment in the year to recognize the threat that malaria poses to servicemen and women abroad in malaria endemic countries, and the role that we can play in helping end malaria worldwide and keeping them safe. So our Nothing But Nets champions as US residents really have a privilege of being able to hold meetings with their directly elected representatives and to advocate against malaria. We'll be with you every step of the way. You'll be able to work with champions from your state and your local communities and be able to practice talking points that we'll provide with you. We'll give you the adequate training and also help you with the meeting flow. And so we'll go over that right now. First, it's always best to introduce yourself as a constituent to that representative that you're meeting with or their office. Tell your story. You know, it's really great to be able to, in that meeting, make a personal connection and say, you know, why it's so important to you that we put money and resources towards malaria eradication efforts. Talk about the issue, you know, why these programs are so important, the impacts they make worldwide, and then make the ask. We'll provide you with the talking points of what the ask will be each year as that changes. And then of course, say thank you. Lastly, never forget to take a picture and provide the leave behind materials so that we can really track your engagement and maintain these relationships with these congressional offices and Senate offices moving forward. Now, the ask in our meetings with members of Congress will vary year to year based on what PMI and the Global Fund ask for in terms of their robust funding for the year. Usually these asks will be for funding for PMI and Global Fund. If an agency asks or has an increased need, those numbers will change. We will make sure you have these numbers about a week before your meeting so that you can prepare yourself and have the adequate numbers available to you. As a Nothing But Nets champion, you can track your progress in developing your advocacy skills by reporting with our STAR system, which stands for Self-Tracking Action Report. This is a great way to also submit verification of your advocacy tasks to our team so we can see, you know, amongst our champions, who's engaging, who is meeting with their member of Congress, and then that helps us decide who to elevate and either spotlight on our social media or invite to speak at a conference or a leadership summit. So it's really great as a champion to be on top of submitting to STAR so you really get credit for all the advocacy work you put in throughout the year. As you can see, each action type has a point value assigned to it. As our largest moment in the year, Leadership Summit is worth 40 points. In district meetings, so meeting with your member of Congress, is worth 20 points. Then we have our advocacy webinars, which are bi-weekly on Monday evenings. That's a great way to learn more about the fight against malaria, and we'll invite speakers. Then also in a non-pandemic year, there are usually fundraisers or in-person events, publishing a letter to the editor in your local or regional publication, calling your member of Congress, and then also the various different social media actions you can take across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and email petition have point values as well. Altogether, throughout the year, you can reach a maximum of 150 points. And so I noted that we have these advocacy webinars. They occur every other Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over Zoom and really run the gamut. So we have a malaria education and advocacy webinars. We usually invite diverse perspectives that range from policy experts to community healthcare workers and to even members of our own staff who work in communications, advocacy, or development. And so you can sign up through our Zoom registration link. And infos of these upcoming webinars are always in our advocacy texts and emails. So just remember to text malaria to 30644 to make sure you have the up-to-date information and stay involved. Next, we'll walk you through on how you can report your advocacy efforts through our STAR system. Like I said before, this is how we track engagement across our champions and how we choose which champions to elevate and promote as advocates for our campaign in events across the year. So if you go to nothingbutnets.net, which is our website, we encourage you to explore this as it has a bunch of great information about the work that we do and the important efforts in eradicating malaria. But as you see, there is a tab at the top titled Advocacy. So first, click on that. Then you'll be brought to a page where you'll scroll down until you see the Self-Tracking Action Report, or STAR. There's a button that's called Submit Here. So you'll just press that and it'll bring you to a form where you fill out your first name, your last name, and your email. And then you put down the date of when you completed your activity. So when you completed your action, when you met with a member of Congress, when you had a letter to the editor published, when you engaged with us on social media, any of those point values. You'll put in the date, and then you'll select the type of action that you completed. So if you attended Leadership Summit, you would press on Advocacy. If you attended an in-district meeting or an advocacy webinar, and then we just need a little bit of proof so that we can track this engagement. So you'll just create a screenshot. If you attend an advocacy webinar, just take a quick screenshot of the screen. Or if you're at an in-district meeting, provide the leave behind materials or a screenshot of the Zoom meeting, or if it's in person, a photo with the office. Finally, we just encourage you to keep up with our work through social media, which we're on LinkedIn, Twitter, and also Instagram. This is a great way to stay updated as we post about our Leadership Summit and also our bi-weekly webinars. We also will host the occasional giveaway and also some live conversations with our most devoted champions. So we encourage you to stay involved, engage in the conversation to end malaria in social media, and tag us, and we'll be happy to see you there. But this is the end of our new champion training. Hope it gave you a pretty good view into the work we do and how you can get involved from home in your community to advocate for the end of malaria and help get crucial funding from the US government to on-the-ground programs. Some next steps from here is, once again, we encourage you to text the word malaria to 30644 so you can stay up to date and receive our action text alerts. And then finally, we do have our bi-weekly webinars, so we encourage you to sign up for one of those, and we'd love to see you there over Zoom. But thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your interest in helping us end malaria. This is a fight that takes cooperation and teamwork, and we appreciate you being a part of it.